I have started recording. So hi. Uh,
Hey,
hey man, thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. Just take like 1 second to introduce yourself to people who may not know
yep.
you.
So I'm Jeremy. I'm the co-founder of 88wheel Co. I've been involved in the skate industry one way or another for
Yeah.
quite a while now.
One question I've been getting quite a bit of is who are 88 Wilco actually? Like a lot of people want to know who the faces behind the brand are.
So primarily it's myself, my business partner Javon's, and Jeff from Pantheon Longboards. So it's the three of us that mainly involved in the business.
Why the
Yeah.
name 88 Wilco?
Yeah, I know there was a bit of controversy about that. My original thought of 88 was actually Back to the Future, 88 miles an hour. That was the original
Yeah.
thought of it. We sort of expanded that into everything to do with the 80s. So it
Mm.
all the wheels and everything is all based on 80s pop culture. The colors, the pinks, blues, and the purples. It's all very much like Miami Vice 1980s kind of color scheme, and that's like it's a great time of like being alive in the 80s. And yes, that was really it. And in Chinese culture, 88 is good luck. There was never anything negative towards the name. It was always seen as something quite positive and fun and easygoing, kind of like what we stand for in terms of the business, because we want to make wheels that people are going to enjoy. They're going to leave them smiling and have a good time. Try not to be too serious about things, and that's kind of
Yeah.
where that whole 80s vibe and everything, like little easygoing and have a bit of fun and all of the rest of it.
What makes these wheels different from others in the market? I know we're talking about Moonwalkers in this context, but feel free to like talk about some of your other products like
The biggest differentiator really is the way in which we make the wheels. So we have some processes that we developed over probably the better part of 5 years in terms of efficiencies and the way in which we make the wheels. So we end up with a wheel that has slightly higher quality than typically the way things have been made in the past, which results in wheels with less bubbles, which result in stronger formulas. So the wheels are more resistant, less likely to chunk, break apart, less defect rates, more concentricity in terms of the actual wheel itself. Our core, so even though it looks like a Kegel core, it's not. It's very different on the inside. One of the key things of that core is that it has a precision bearing seat. So what that means is when you pop a bearing in, doesn't matter which bearing it is, it'll be as true as possible so that the wheels will wear evenly and roll slightly better. Because typically in the skate industry, there's no real standards for anything. So when we were designing this core, one of the big things we wanted to do is to make sure that we at least adhered to some standards. So we follow SKF standards for basically bearing seats when we designed the core, so that when you pop a bearing in, it's very easy to go in. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. It's kind of just a perfect fit, and
yeah, I
that
did
really helps
yeah.
with keeping as centered as possible and rolling as true as possible, which makes the wheel just work as it should. So it wears evenly, it does what you want it to do, and all the rest of it.
The next question I have is the core on the Moonwalker unique or how is it different from other cores on the market?
The Moonwalker has quite a large core. One of the things is in terms of how the core actually sort of binds. This isn't the same core, but this is similar. So you can see on the inside, it has these sort of areas where when you pour the urethane, it grabs inside it. So you're less likely for anything to kind of come apart. The original idea of the Moonwalker was a wheel that's like really durable. So you can absolutely throttle the crap out of it. And a lot of dancing and sort of freeride wheels sometimes can have delamination problems, especially when people are using them for dancing and throwing these boards up in the air and slamming it down repeatedly. The number of cracked cores I've seen and delaminated wheels is just like, well, yeah, got to do something about that. So the Moonwalker core has a little bit more grab in it, so it's less likely to delaminate or crack.
Next question that I have is how are you guys able to keep them relatively affordable? I mean, because of COVID, I know the material costs for wheels like shot up, but keep them much cheaper, like $5 to $10 cheaper than like other similarly sized products.
Decided when we were pricing them that as we're a new brand, it made no sense for us to bring out wheels that are more expensive than our competitors, because no one's going to buy it. Right. The other advantage we have is like actually being on the ground in China. So I'm in China, I live in China, I work in China. I have direct access to things that we may not necessarily have if we were trying to do the same thing remotely. So if I was in Oz, for example, and trying to make wheels in China, I think it would be a little different in terms of managing our costs, that whole entire supply chain. So being on the ground here, we have a lot more accessibility and control over every little part of it. I think that's a strong indicator as to why we're able to be a bit more efficient efficient in terms of cost. I mean, that said, material costs have gone up like 400%, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys are more efficient. I think last time we also had that discussion. You were telling me
Yeah.
about how
Well, the production process also helps us in terms of efficiency for cost, because we're doing things a little differently. So we're using a little more automation where possible to minimize the human sort of touch and aspect of it. Not that there's not people involved, it's just that where we can improve efficiency in the process, that's what we'll do.
Next question is, are you guys making any other freeride wheel in the future? I understand that the Moonwalkers are a dance/freeride hybrid. Are there going to be like any 70mm freeride wheels in the works, or like a...
Yes, we have a 70mm wheel in the works. I won't show it on camera, but yeah, we've been testing something. Hopefully fairly soon we'll be able to get that one to market. It'll be in a different urethane to the Moonwalker. It'll be probably more like the Mcfly 70mm size.
In the vein of how Pantheon double drop decks and 88 wheel Mcfly cemented their presence in the LDP discipline, will they also further specialize in Harfang, Rain, and or shark wheel type wheels?
I mean, we would never do anything like a shark wheel. That's just an utter gimmick. In terms of Harfang style, yes, we already have made prototype rain wheels of the Mavs, which some of the boys have been skating so far. Not too bad. Still some work to go, but yes, that's definitely something on the radar.
Can we expect some rain wheel versions of the Mcflys?
I mean, if there's enough interest in it, yes. Otherwise, we might just maybe make 10 sets here and there and see if anyone's interested in them, kind of thing. Because it's a bit of an involved process having to basically machine wheels. You need a 5-axis CNC machine, and we've got some jigs that we made for them, but it's a bit tricky. And depending on what kind of pattern you want in the wheels, whether it's just like a straight cut or whether you want something like more like a stage 5 Harfang kind of thing. Here, I can show you. This is a proto.
Nice.
That we did a while ago. You can see that kind of... This was actually inspired by car tire treads. I think we were reading up about some of Michelin's technical documentation.
Why buy your wheels instead of your competitors?
I mean, that's a difficult question to answer. Really, that comes down to personal preference. I'm not going to tell someone to buy our wheels over something else. At the end of the day, it's about what you like to ride and, you know, what you're comfortable with. If you want to give our wheels a try, that's great. I'm sure you'll love them, but I'm not going to like tell them, hey, you have to buy our wheels kind of thing. That's not really what it's about. At the end of the day, we make high quality wheels. You know, our wheels last. They're durable, built to high quality standards. So if you want to give it a go, like, we'd appreciate your support. But at the end of the day, it's down to personal preference.
Choice. So one more question. If I was to buy a set of wheels from your website, where would they be shipping from?
So right now, they'll ship from China. If, for example, you're in the US, average shipping time is like 7 to 10 days. In about 2 to 3 weeks' time, that'll change. Just moving a whole bunch of stock to our warehouse in California, we'll be able to offer free shipping 1 to 2 days within the US pretty soon. In terms of the rest of the world, obviously, if you're in Asia, like Singapore, Hong Kong, anywhere, this sort of part of the world is pretty quick, like 1 to 2 days. But Australia, New Zealand, expect about 7 to 10 days as well. Europe, about the same.
But you guys also are working with a new distributor, so...
We work with big boards in Europe, and we just signed on with Eastern Skateboard Supply for the US for North America. They're basically handling all of our North American kind of shop distribution. So hopefully that should mean that we get access to up to about 300 shops across North America, which should be nice.
All right. Thank you for answering my questions. I think it's been very valuable. I think a lot of people appreciate this. I know there'll be a bunch more questions from other people from this. So where can people reach you? How can they communicate with you?
I mean, we're on Reddit, and you can email us, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. Feel free to reach out if you got any questions.
All right. And that's it from me. Thank you, and have a nice day. Take care.
Take it easy.
All right.
Hey, you have to buy our wheels.